you have a few minutes, I'd like to show you just how quick and easy it is to spin up a flawless server and then deploy a new site in just a couple of clicks, all with SpinupWP, the modern server control panel optimized for WordPress. Let's get started spinning up a new server. You can connect any provider to SpinupWP, but it's especially easy to provision new servers with DigitalOcean. I'm going to go ahead and connect to DigitalOcean where I already have an account. I can set a name for the provider so I can recognize it in the future. For example, you might be using SpinupWP for different clients, and each with their own DigitalOcean account. Next, I need an API token from DigitalOcean. Then I can select the size of the server I want to be created. It's good to start small here, as servers can always be upgraded in size later, but they can't be downsized. I need to give the server a name so I can recognize it later, as well as choosing which database server to be installed. The database root password should be noted down and stored, as this won't be available later. Finally, after clicking Provision Server, the server creation process begins. This usually takes around 10 minutes, but you don't need to wait and watch. You'll get emailed when it's done. You can actually see all the software that is being installed for you, automatically and painlessly and in minutes. If you've ever manually provisioned a server before, then this screen is a joy to watch. With our shiny new server set up, it's time to create a new WordPress site. If I click New Site, I can add the domain of the site. SpinupWP then provides me with instructions of how to configure the DNS at my domain registrar, but I can leave that until later. Next, I can choose what files I want SpinupWP to install for me. It can install a brand new WordPress site. Alternatively, you can install an existing site from a Git repository, or even just leave the site blank and don't install any files. I can choose to install a single site or install a multi-site network in both subdirectory or subdomain configurations. Here I can set the site title and add my email address, username, and set a password for the WordPress administrator user that will get created. We need to create a new database for the site, so SpinupWP takes you through the setup of a new database and a new user for the site. There are some further settings on the next stage of the site creation process. Here I can define the name of the system user which owns the files on the system and will be used for logging in via SSH and SFTP. I can also set the PHP version for the site, which can be different to other sites on the server and easily changed. Next, we can enable full page caching for the site, which will give our site blazing speed without the need for third-party caching plugins. If DNS verification hasn't been done for the site yet, we can't turn on HTTPS. Lastly, SpinupWP gives you a handy summary screen of your site's details before going off and creating it. Let's create the site. So now we have a brand new WordPress site installed on the server with full page caching configured and ready to use. I've since pointed the domain's DNS records at the new server, so we can turn on HTTPS by visiting the HTTPS section from the site page, and with a simple checkbox click, SpinupWP generates a free SSL certificate for the site. And as a SpinupWP customer, you get SSL renewals, push to deploy for Git sites, post-deployment scripts and site backups. And that's it. We've just created a brand new server built with the latest software and industry standard best practices for security and performance, and deployed a new, blazing fast and rock solid WordPress site in a matter of minutes, all with the power of SpinupWP, a modern server control panel optimized for WordPress. Visit SpinupWP.com to try it for yourself. We think you'll agree SpinupWP is the best way to host WordPress sites yourself, at a fraction of the cost of managed WordPress hosting.